Hey, love tubers, how you loving? How you loving? How you loving? How you loving? Come on in, come on in, come on in. So we are simultaneously on Clubhouse at the same time that we're on YouTube. This is phenomenal. This is phenomenal. So on Clubhouse, we already got one of the witches that's graduating. How you loving, Icy? How you feel about graduation? Graduating on the fall equinox. Can you unmute Icy or no? Talk to us. Are you getting ready for graduation? Are you elated? Are you happy? What's happening for you?
I'm very happy about graduation. I'm still integrating from the trip to Peru, so it has been so huge and massive.
Oh my goodness. What's not Peru? Peru was like over the top. It was mind blowing. For me anyway. How was it for you?
Well, it was definitely mind-blowing and surprising, especially when we did the Temescal Sweat Lodge.
The Sweat Lodge!
Yes. I had all these thoughts about, oh my gosh, I'm going to be hot and, I'm going to hallucinate what's going to happen. It was just completely new, but I found that I was so comfortable, it surprised me.
You were comfortable in all that heat in the Sweat Lodge, in the Temescal, on our Peru retreat.
Yeah.
Woo, girl, yeah, you were lapping it up. You loved it. Some were not having that good of an experience, but you were lapping it up.
Oh yes, laughing. I enjoyed the chanting, and then I didn't even notice that I was scooting closer and closer to the hot rocks.
Yeah, you were right on top of our stones, our sacred stones. The stones who say yes to giving their essence and energy to be heated to thousands of degrees so that we can welcome them into the Sweat Lodge, the Temescal, and experience their healing properties. Like, wow. Yeah, you were right up on those stones. And how about when he threw the 7 sacred herbs on top of the stones?
It was everything. Again, I didn't know what to expect. I had never did a sweat lodge before. And so every time he threw a new sacred herb and the steam would come up and just fill the sweat lodge with the aroma, to me, it just felt exhilarating. I was so close to the sacred hot stones that my foot was on it and I didn't even feel it.
You didn't feel the heat? You didn't feel the heat?
No.
You were transported in consciousness?
Yes. I just felt like pure energy. It was amazing.
Yeah. The Temescal and all of the plant medicine, of course, ayahuasca, and of course those who did San Pedro, some did San Pedro, and y'all even got to walk the sacred Inca Trail, even though you didn't plan on it, right?
Yes, we did.
Look at Spirit. Spirit arranged it so that you got to walk the sacred Inca Trail. That is so beautiful. And oh my goodness, that picture of y'all walking the sacred Inca Trail, it's priceless. I'm going to put it on the website. It's priceless. Isn't it beautiful?
Yes, it's very beautiful. It was quite a surprise because we had just finished the second ayahuasca, and I hope I'm saying it right because that's how I say it, but we just finished the second experience with that. And to our surprise, he was like, we're going to walk this trail. We were just like, wait, what?
Yeah, walking after we just did ayahuasca all night, and that was early in the morning, and we walking? Yeah.
Yes. But it was so sacred at the same time because you have all the greenery, and then we passed the monkey cave, and then it was just something only spirit could have planned. That's how I felt.
Let go and let the universe do its thing. Like, why try to be in control of everything, right?
That's right. And then there were no cars driving that day, so it was a lot of stillness.
It was very quiet, wasn't it? Really quiet early that morning.
Yes.
Yeah. So let me welcome all our love tubers. Love tubers! Hi, love tubers. How you loving? How you loving? How you loving? So it's Witchy Wednesday. And we have not been live. I haven't been live on the YouTube channel for a while. And I love being live. So we're live today. And live Hey, Positive Power Deb. How you loving? Hey, Kathy. How you loving? Hey, Darla. How you loving? So we are live on Clubhouse also. We have a Christian Witches Club on Clubhouse. Yeah, we doing it all. We doing the most, right? So we have a Christian Witches Club on Clubhouse. And the Christian Witches Club link is right under this vid. So if you want to hop on Clubhouse so we can hear your voice in this conversation, that's beautiful. If you want to stay on YouTube and listen in, beautiful. And if you're on Clubhouse and you're listening into this conversation, it's being recorded. We always let people know when we're recording a room, and it will also be here on YouTube. Dear Nature, how you loving? So I'm coming to you from my home in Mexico and loving life in Mexico. So it's been since December that I came to Mexico. And I've been living in Merida for now since December, even though I hop all over the globe, I hop all over, right? So I've been to Miami, I've been to Peru, I've been to other parts of Tulum, down here in Mexico. And in April, end of April, about April 25th or so is when I got my home here in Peru. And the home is beautiful. I'm coming to you from my home. The home is beautiful, and I'm gonna have all my peeps coming down, getting all the beautiful things for the home. Y'all saw the tour already on the channel. So let's get down to business about this conversation that we're gonna have today about being a Christian, a witch, and an atheist, which is kind of where I find myself now. This unfoldment, this evolutionary unfoldment of the soul and of consciousness is forever. We are great becomings, right? We are becoming. So here's what I mean by Christian, because I feel like it's going to be helpful for us to define some terms here so that we have a good basis for our conversation. First term I want to define is Christian, according to my experience. And that's why we're having this global conversation, so that you can share with us your understanding of it, your take on it, your experience with it. So the way I describe Christian, or to define Christian, is a person who follows a follower of Christ, not a believer in the Bible. See, these are two different things. So a follower of Christ. And a follower of Christ is a person who aspires, for me, to Christ consciousness. Now, everybody has a different take on this, and we welcome everyone's take on it, because in this community, we're a global community of truth seekers, and we welcome everybody, right? As long as you come in peace, we welcome you. So that's the first thing I want to really put out there. For me, Christian doesn't mean a person who follows a religion. Christian means a person who is truly aspiring to be like Christ. You don't have to have a religion to be like Christ. And you don't have to be baptized to be like Christ. You don't have to be going to church to be like Christ. As a matter of fact, I know a lot of people that go to church, they're not like Christ. And a lot of people that don't go to church, and they may very well be like Christ. So it's really this Christ, the connection, energy current with Christ consciousness. And what is Christ consciousness about? Well, for me, Christ consciousness is about acceptance of all people. It's about love. It's about exactly what he said. Love God with your whole heart, soul, mind, strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. That's it. It's really about love. That's what Christ is about. And you can just practice that. Love could be your religion. So that's my take on Christ. And everyone in the room, come on, raise your hand, come up onto the stage and share with us. We're open for discussion. And Icy, hop in anytime you want it. Icy, anyone who raises their hand, go ahead and let them on stage, because you're a mod too. So this is the Clubhouse room. So let's go to the second definition that we're going to have in this conversation, and that's the definition of witch. And that's a very loaded word. I'm a witch, and I am in love with Christian witches. We're in the Christian Witches Face a clubhouse room right now. The link to join the Christian Witches Club, where we have heretical discussions, conversations about things they dare not talk about in church, about forbidden knowledge and all of that. Yeah, we go there. So, witch, what is that? You were gonna say something, Nicey?
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you that I love these types of conversations where we get to just unpack the information and grow together. So that's it. Just tapping my mic.
I love it. I love it. So witch, what is witch? For me, a witch is simply a person, not female. It could be male, female, sisters, brothers, and others. Any being that is in touch with magic. That's it for me. A witch is a person that's in touch with magic and practices magic. Magic, what is magic? Causing to be according to your inner states. Causing to be according to your word. Aleister Crowley said that magic is to cause a change to occur in conformity with the will. What did he mean by the will? He meant something very specific by the will. He called the will the divine unction, not just whatever you want to do. That's not your will. Your will is the divine unction. It's housed in the solar plexus. The will, pardon me, is another word for saying destiny. So what Aleister Crowley was saying is that when you start to conform your outer world to your destiny, that's magic. That's magic. So for him, magic had a component of destiny to it. And the same for me, that the magic that I practice is in alignment with the soul. It's just another way of saying it's in alignment with your soul. Now let's go to the third one, atheist, because I just want to throw out these definitions and then we can vibe on them, right? We can jam on them. Let's go to atheist. Now I am, on one hand, an atheist because I do not believe in the God that I grew up with. Now that God, he's a twisted, sadistic fucker. I'm sorry. Killing people, killing babies and kids. But you're the creator. I thought you made all these people. Killing them. If you get out of order, you're gonna be damned to hell. And you're not going to be damned to hell just for the period of time that you were out of order. I always thought, I say that all the time, I always thought that would be fair. If you were here for 70 or 80 years and you were an absolute horrible person, then okay, you go to hell for 70 or 80 years. And you come out, you wipe the slate clean, you served your time. But this sadistic thing being people call God, this sadistic joker is about to send people to hell for hundreds of millions of years. You're just gonna be there forever. And I could never get with that. Now, I did not grow up with the hellfire doctrine, to be fair, and I want to put that out there, disclosure, because I grew up in the cult of Jehovah's Witnesses. And yes, there are Christians, as they're all with the Christ, Jesus, and the Bible. And they have some varying degrees of difference between different, Christian sects. And this particular sect, they are fundamentalist Christians. So we are talking Christians that believe the Bible is real, historic, truth, inspired word of God. Now, it's a very strange belief to have because it's already been proven that it's not. Yet, this is what people believe. And hey, I'm not here to rip away anyone's beliefs. I'm telling you what's going on with me. Okay? And that's why we're having this discussion so that we can all come together. All right, Valerie on YouTube says, here's a good question. Do you believe there is a cross between chases, those they call prophets in the church who are actually natural born witches or psychics. I love that, Valerie. I think I'm gonna ask Icy to weigh in on that one too. So Icy, what are your thoughts? This is our clubhouse room that we have going on at the same time that we're on YouTube as well. Valerie says, Icy, do you believe there is a cross between those they call prophets in the church who are actually natural born witches or psychics? That's a good question. What are your thoughts on that, Icy? Because Icy is medium, so you could say that she is also and she's also a witch, and I trust her. What say you, Icy, about that?
Can you repeat the question one more time? I want to.
Yeah. And you grew up in the church, like she's deep in the church. So do you believe
Yes.
there is a cross between those they call prophets in the church who are actually natural born witches or psychics? So does the church call, what I'm getting from this, Valerie, let me know if this is correct. Does the church call people who are really natural born witches and psychics, are they calling these people prophets?
Okay, so just stating that this is my own personal belief, they're the same thing.
So you say prophet, psychic, witch, all the same thing.
Yes, because for one, we're all first spirit. You know, the Bible clearly states that God breathed life into us. So the essence of who we are comes from almighty consciousness. We are first, therefore, spirit. And our gifts are, which the church calls it spiritual gifts, the world calls it psychic abilities. To me, it's one and the same. It's your energy and how you're choosing to use it.
So this is all energy, basically, is what we're saying.
Yes. And to me, for example, everyone in my family, they do not acknowledge witchcraft. They curse witchcraft. They say throw it down. And they all consider me a prophetess. They say, okay, well, you can go ahead and call yourself a medium, but it's your gifts. It's what ultimately how God allows me to use my gifts and express my gifts. But to me, it's still all one and the same. So is that clear?
Yes. What I'm hearing from this is that everything is energy. We all have these gifts, and it could be just like energy that maybe has different shades. Like you can have different flavors of ice cream, right? So one shade of the energy could be a person who has psychic abilities. One shade, and psychics are naturally mediums, are they? Icy?
No.
Okay,
no,
how do you address that?
So I would address that as all mediums are psychics, but not all psychics are mediums. There are different levels of sensitivity to these different abilities. So you may have one person who is strongly experiencing psychic visions or dreams, which I call night visions. So day visions, night visions, continued synchronicities, the unction, a strong feeling. You see a person and next thing you know that person died, but you knew it, you felt it. So each and every person on this planet has some level of sensitivity to understand the spirit realm. And so one thing that I do in my own practice and when I coach others is that I help them to see how they're connected. You know, how are you connected? Are you an empath? Are you feeling all tons of energy and you're trying to figure out what to do with it? How I would interpret a witch is just somebody who is energetically, divinely connected. Somebody who incorporates ritualistic practices as a routine. That's a witch to me. I would not say that psychics and mediums are the same. There's just to me, it's two different levels of sensitivity, but each level can be developed, nurtured, and grown. So that's what I would say. Beautiful.
I can see that not all psychics are mediums, yet all mediums would have to have some kind of psychic ability to be able to be a medium. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. And one thing I do, I receives messages through clairvoyance, clairaudience, or they're clairsentient, which means they can see clearly in dreams and visions. They receive all types of messages through pictures, imagery. Somebody that is clairaudient, they're hearing, whether it is subjective or objective. You can hear outside of yourself. You may hear someone call you, or a voice, or or recently, if I'm near someone, and this happens a lot, especially if I'm not paying attention to them. They're thinking, and to me, they're just talking. So I'm responding to their thoughts, and they're like, "Wait, I didn't say that out loud." And I'm like, "Yes, you did." So that's one way of it. The other way is being able to hear. I want to be careful with this, but hear spiritually. So you're not just having thoughts in your mind, and you're like, okay, well, where did that thought come from? But no, you're able to hear whether you're reading the Bible, and as you're reading, you're still hearing messages along with it. So am I saying this clear?
Yes, that clairaudience is powerful. The clairaudience is so powerful because sometimes you'll just hear a voice. I remember one time someone was about to commit suicide. They were about to off themselves, a relative of mine. And I'm telling you, I was laying in the bed, Icy and Love Tubers. I was laying in the bed. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning. And literally, I heard Valerie. And I just sat right up. Like, it called my name, just like when Samuel was in the temple. And he was asleep. And he heard Samuel. And he got up out of his sleep and he went to the high priest. And he said to the high priest, "You called me?" And he said, "No, I didn't call you. Go back to bed." It was like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, right? The witching hour. And he went back to bed and he went and he's heard it again, Samuel. And he sat up. He was like, "You," and he came back to the priest. He said, "I know you called me," because Samuel's mother, Hannah, had left him in the temple because that was her deal that she made with God, right? That if she could get pregnant, she would bring the boy, the child, to the temple, and the child, after being weaned, and then the child would be serving at the temple, dedicated to God, giving the child to God. Well, when the third time happened, he wakes up again, Samuel, and he looks around, nothing, goes to the high priest, nothing. And the high priest says to him this time, he says, "Next time you hear it, say, 'Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening.'" That was the message that the high priest, high priest understood. Oh, this is God calling this child, right? This is the voice of God. So that clairaudience, hearing the voice, and we've all heard the voice. None of us are talking. None of this is strange. All of this is completely normal. Continue, Icy.
Yes, and I'm over here, I'm muted, but I'm over here like, yes, because so I grew up very deep in the church. I'm a preacher's kid. In fact, I'm a praise and worship leader currently, so I'm still in the church.
I love that. You be mediumship, witch up in the church, praise and worship. Come on, saints.
I love praise and worship.
I love it too. You talking about moving the energy.
Yes. And when I speak to other people and we're talking about praise and worship, I ask them, when you're in worship, are you doing it to perform or entertain, or are you doing it because you want your energy to be channeled to a higher level? That's why I do praise and worship. So when I'm up there, I'm just like, it's just complete worship and honor and just appreciation for my energy being changed. It's a switch for me.
Oh my God. And when you get into praise and worship, it's on a whole nother plane. It's on a whole nother plane. I mean, you can take your energy all the way straight up. Put some good gospel music on and praise and worship. You can just go straight on up. Yeah.
Yes. So clairaudience, and then there's clairsentience, which is clear feeling. And everybody, we're all experiencing how we're picking up energy. Well, for example, we could be vibing high, happy, in our bliss, and then we can energetically notice when something's off.
Yeah.
We just know.
Yeah.
And I had this one experience where, so I grew up with my family, and then I got married and moved completely across the country. and I would just have this feeling like, call your mom. And I'm like, what? And then, call your mom, something's going on. And so I call, and she's just like, oh my gosh, I'm sick of God telling you my business. And I'm like,
wait a minute, she said that. When you called your mom, she said, I'm sick of God telling you my business. That's what she said. She didn't say, thank you, baby, that you picked up the message. She was like, I'm sick of God telling you my business. Okay, don't be mad at the universe. Okay, continue.
Yes, and we just laughed about it because she was just like, you know, I was raised during a time where they talk about going to see your closet and going to see your secret place of worship, and all of that really just teaches the person how to build a home within themselves, how to connect with the energy that's deep within themselves. And so, as she's like, well, as I'm in my prayer closet, how you over there just getting my business? And I'm just saying,
oh, because she was in her prayer closet, which was like the secret place of the Most High. She's deep within herself, and she's wondering how you getting the download and the energy current and the information of what's happening for me, and I'm in my secret place.
yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Because she didn't read A Course in Miracles. Yeah, because she didn't read A Course in Miracles. There are no secret thoughts, so it's not possible to have a secret thought. It's not possible.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so continue.
So this led into this beautiful conversation about intercessory prayer. You know, for me, it's really, like, for me, I see the beauty in it. I see the healing in it. And so it's hard for me to separate, okay, this is church and then this is the world. And I'm like, well, healing is healing, you know, whether you're in the church or you're outside the church. The healing of the energy to me is the same. So we go into talking about intercessory prayer and how we pick up these messages of like, oh, I had this thought about this person randomly. No, you didn't. That person needs some prayer. That person needs some love. That person needs some encouragement. And so we're getting all this information and just really not knowing how to handle it, how to process it, how to bring it back to ourselves. Of how is this information related to me? Because it's coming to you for a reason. You want to go into that?
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, I was just listening to Eckhart Tolle with regard to that the other day, and he was talking about the experiences that we have with other people and with the universe. And he said it in a really profound way that I love. And I'm going to get to the comments in a moment so we can see what the Love Tubers are saying. One of the things that Eckhart Tolle said is impossible to experience anything other than your own consciousness, right? So we can't experience something that someone else is seeing, doing, hearing, because they're experiencing what they're seeing, doing, hearing. We are experiencing our own consciousness outpictured. And so the way he said it was so simple and so clear that I was like, yes. That's a very difficult thing for us to really integrate, is that we're only ever experiencing our own consciousness. Like, what else can we experience? And the way that I proved it to myself is that when I saw something, let's say you see a homeless person and you get sad, right? Let's say, where's the sadness? Well, it's in me. And where is the feeling? Well, I'm having the feeling. Now, the homeless person, maybe they're not having the same feeling. Maybe they were just the same when I came by, or not, because they're having an experience as well. And the beauty of being in this life and in this whole universe is that we each get to honor the experience we're having within, and to create space and be welcoming to the experience everyone else is having as well, right? Yeah. Positive Power Deb says, please expound on not possible to have a secret thought. Is it because we are one unified mind? Yes. So for me, when I say I'm an atheist, because I don't believe in the God that I grew up with, and I don't believe in a God person, like, you know, this big dude boss of the world. That's just not my jam. But now, if that's your jam, go for it. I'm just sharing with you my experience as I am unpack these really powerful questions that we all get to ask ourselves and we get to answer. You know, humanity, it would do us well to contemplate these things. That's why I continue to have these kinds of conversations, and that's why I'm always pondering on these kinds of questions. Not always, but I love pondering these kinds of questions. Well, when you say that there are no secret thoughts because we're all of one mind, yes, we're in a pool because consciousness is universal. Universal. So I see, could hear, or see, or claircognizance, clear hearing, hear something that was going on, like Luke with the Force. And Obi-Wan Kenobi would say to Luke, there's a disturbance in the Force. It was, and what was it? It was his experience, and he was tapped into the energy currents, and he could feel over there was an energy current that was going wee, 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 and then over here is an energy current that's going whoop, 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 kind of thing, right? Well, when we're tapping into these different energies, we are still interpreting them and experiencing them according to our consciousness. So yeah, A Course in Miracles says there are no private thoughts. Every thought you have ever had is public and can be picked up by people like I see. Is that what was happening with you and your mama? Is that what was happening with you and your mama?
So I'm gonna say yes, but so again, spirit has been really dealing with me on this because I'm somebody that likes to see both sides of the coin. So when I view it, there is the aspect of, okay, I'll take this to praise and worship. As I'm having praise and worship, and this to me, it's like, okay, your creation, praising and worshiping your creator. But then there's also the other polarity of that. Whereas we are all spirits, we are all interconnected, but yet all having our own separate experience. And so, to answer you, yes, that's what was happening. Because energetically, we're all interconnected. We're all of the same energy, just having our own individual experiences. And I remember the last clubhouse we did here on Christian Witches, me and you, we were actually talking about how to view that as an empath. And you were saying how as an empath, you just don't have any boundaries. And I had a problem with that. You remember?
I remember. Well, look, to be fair, a lot of people have a lot of problems with a lot of things I say.
But I know it's all in love. So it's definitely it's all in love. And so I had a moment as I was researching more about my galactic signature and what that actually means. And for those who don't know, my galactic signature is K222 white magnetic wind. And so I'm somebody that's supposed to be this emissary for spirit. And then I noticed that my challenger is somebody who would represent free will. Woo. And I was like, why would that be my challenger?
This is exactly what I'm writing the book about. Right now, the book is being released on 9/9. It's going to be in pre-launch later tonight. This is exactly what this book is about. Your galactic signature and decoding yourself. So you're decoding yourself. And what did you discover?
So I discovered that the reason my challenger would be someone that will completely represent free will is, for me personally, just viewing my experiences, it's me understanding that I have a choice at all times. I may be spirit, I may be able to tap into different energies personally, but going back to that conversation about being an empath, I didn't have any boundaries. I didn't allow the separateness. So boundaries, I learned through our conversation, you were right about that. I didn't have the boundaries. And for me, I'm still, as I'm going through my journey, I'm still accepting how to be more human. So
wow.
So I get the spirit aspect. I get how to hear spirit, connect with spirit, energy work. What I was struggling with was about what the value of being human.
Oh.
So,
yeah. What did you come to as the answer to that question?
The value of being human for me so far has been how I function on this earth in this three-dimensional realm. So if I'm spirit, I'm flowing in spirit at all times, according to the Bible, then I'm no earthly good. I'm not taking care of my body or my household or just the things that I would consider as mundane and I don't want to think about.
Yeah, and you do see people like that, like they call them in the church or the spiritual, in the church paradigm, they call them too heavenly minded and no earthly good or something like that.
Yes. So just it's like bringing back that balance, the balance of walking and accepting, acknowledging that I'm spirit, but as I'm here on this three-dimensional realm, I can't just forget about the other things I need to take care of at the same time. Like I have free will. If I choose to not think about it or not align things so they work for me. So if I'm not planning my day, if I'm not, you know what I'm saying, Reverend Valerie?
I know exactly what you're saying because to tell you, I know exactly what you're saying because to tell you the truth, I've had challenges with this on both ends. And sometimes I was all the way at one end of the polarity, being way too human, just deep into the whole human thing and not truly consciously connected with source. And then I've been way on the other end where I was just all in prayer and spirituality, blah, 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 didn't look up and pay your phone bill. You haven't been on a planet in how many days? You're not grounded or rooted. I've had both. Yeah. Neither one is helpful if you're an embodied spirit, right?
Yes.
Yeah. When I was with the Lakota, because y'all know I love going with people worshiping all of it. If somebody's worshiping, I'm gonna go. So I've been with Hindus and Islamic brothers and sisters and Balinese temples and just all over, all kinds of Christian temples and the Jewish synagogue and all of shamans in Colombia, shamans in Peru, the Lakota in the United States, Native American, now Mexican. Well, when I was at a pipe ceremony with the Native American, this particular pipe carrier was Lakota. I believe he was of the Lakota tribe. Well, he had a pipe, and we had a pipe ceremony. We were all in a circle, and I found out something very, very, very fascinating in that pipe ceremony that stayed with me forever. And this is what it is. If you walk the red road, let me start with the black road. There's two roads you could walk. You could walk the red road in your life, or you could walk the black road in your life. The black road is a horizontal road, and it goes from left to right. It's horizontal or right to left. It's a horizontal road, and the horizontal one on one end of the black road is thought. Just think it. On the other end of the black road is emotions, feeling no fear, feeling this, feeling that, feeling angry, feeling all these reactive emotions. That's the black road. And people that are walking the black road, which I used to walk, to tell you the truth, they're always pinging back and forth, or they're somewhere on that polarity between thinking, and all these emotions, up, down, and then round, and that's the black road. Now, the red road, the road of the pipe carrier, of the warrior, of the hero, the heroine, is a vertical road. And at the very top of the red road is spirit. And at the very bottom is body, physical. So those who are on the red road, which you must be practicing and walking the red road to be a pipe carrier in this tradition, He said you walk the red road as an embodied spirit. Isn't that profound? You're not pinging back and forth between thought and emotion, thought and emotion, thought and emotion, thought and emotion, just pinging back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They're there. You know, that's the T of the axis of the cross. Looks like a cross. And the crossbow is the black. And so when you feel yourself thinking, well, what's going to happen? What they doing? You know, my mind can be super active. Up, you just breathe and bring yourself back to the red road. Isn't that you walk the planet as an embodied spirit? What is an embodied spirit doing? An embodied spirit is simply a spirit that has come into a body and is simply being, not thinking about every single thing that happens and not reactively emoting to every single thing that happens. An embodied spirit doesn't do that. So that's what helped me with that, I see. Is that helpful too for everyone in our clubhouse room?
Well, yes, that's extremely helpful. I was writing it down.
It touched me, you know, when he said that, it touched me. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Because of how I was raised up in the church, my mind just literally goes back to a lot of that. And what I do when I'm speaking to others is, I tell them whenever a worry enters your mind, you could handle it two ways. You can either worry about it or you can just be grateful, pray blessings, be happy about it. You can change that energy. So that was helpful for me. I'm complete.
Beautiful. I love it. Okay, before we go to some comments here from the Love Tubers, let's go to Debbie in our clubhouse room. Hey, Debbie, how you love it? Talk to us. Hey.
Hi. Reverend Valerie Love, how you love it? I'm loving well. So I wanted to tune in on what we were talking about as far as our spiritual and our human selves. And we are all spirit, and we are all spiritual beings, and we are in physical bodies, which is allowing us to have this human experience. Everything is energy. Some of it's moving fast at a higher frequency, some of it's moving slower, like our physical bodies. In this human experience, we're able to interact with and express our energy in a physical way. That's where our five senses come in: our sight, our sound, our smell, our touch, and our hearing. But if we're still able to tune in and access our spiritual senses, like the ones we've been talking about, clairvoyance and our psychic abilities, then we're able to get in touch with our spiritual side. So the question of why are we human and how can we compile those two? We are all spirits. We're having a human experience. We can use our physical bodies to enjoy the spiritual world in a physical way, and we can tune into our spiritual senses and enjoy it on a higher level. And it's all for the fun of it, all for the creation process. Thank you very much. I'm complete at this moment.
Love it, Debbie. Love it, love it, love it. And you know what I heard also as I was listening to Mythic Vision podcast. I love his podcast. It's really good. Listen to it. Mythic Vision podcast. And I was listening to something he said, and he said that a lot of people believe, and I'm probably in this camp as well, that the universe, that rather than there being some big God that knows everything and it's all figured out, right? Because I don't know, to tell you the truth. I just know what it ain't. It ain't the God I grew up with. Well, he said some people, instead of believing that there is a God, as many of us have been taught, this all-powerful, all-omniscient, all-knowing being, that we are the extension of God in the physical, and God is pretty much figuring it out through all of us. Now, that is a possibility as well. And it would seem it's not very far off from what would be logical. So what you just described, Debbie, made me think about that, because it was a way of expressing God, which everyone can express God however it works for them, right? That's a personal thing, you and your in source, or not, if you're completely atheist, right? I'm atheist in that I'm not with the God I grew up with, not with that. I'm with consciousness and energy. Well, if you go with the idea that God doesn't have it figured out, God is a becoming, and God is figuring it out through all of us. We're the body of God. That's another way of looking at it too. That's another way of looking at it too. Okay, let me see what the love tubers are talking about. The love tubers. So the latest message here says, man, it's so inspiring. The thing that we being gods, yes, changes the whole perspective, doesn't it? I'm seeing galactic signatures in the chat. I'm seeing Kin 116, yellow crystal warrior, love it. Oh, we got another yellow here, yellow planetary human, love it. Also, I wish I could at least light a candle, but to my mom, it's the devil. Well, see, people that are consumed usually with church I found that people that are consumed with church are really usually consumed with the devil. Um, as a matter of fact, there was another perspective I heard too that was very fascinating that said that God made this world and then gave it to like a devil kind of, like, in other words, the devil rules on earth and God rules in heaven. So if you want to get to God, there are actually people that believe this. You want to go to God and get to heaven, you have to pay your respects, offerings, petitions to the devil. I don't think that's what Satanists and Luciferians go for, but that is actually a path, a spiritual path of worship. Please suspend. Okay, let me get to. And my sleep study was recorded. I remember it was 3 a.m. I went to the bathroom. I had a vision of my dining room burning. Wow. I got up fast and ran downstairs, and my the candles were lit. That was the voice speaking to you in your sleep. Isn't that incredible? Speaking to you in your sleep. There are so many paths, aren't there, B. Raw Nature? So many paths. Here's the other thing that I've really been being with. I'm telling you, family, I have so been going deep within myself about what's real, about the universe, about the nature of the universe, about my place in the universe. So I guess you could say I'm a mystic because these are the kinds of things that I love pondering and going into deeper. And when I hear different paths, I love them. I love hearing all these different paths. The thing that really has been sitting most deeply in my spirit, I guess you could say, the thing that's most prominent, because you know how we kind of go through these phases as spiritual beings, and different things come to the front of your consciousness at different times. The thing that's at the front of my consciousness right now is this whole God atheism thing. In the atheists, I've always felt like atheists are very, very, very intelligent people. And I like that atheists are extremely critical thinking people. I like that. I think that's how I arrived at not believing the things in the Bible for being, historical or the unadulterated, inspired word of God, or that these things actually happened. Like they've already proven that it is physically impossible for the art to have happened. Even though there are still people that you probably could look on YouTube right now and find that person that's doing some kind of rebuild of the ark or telling you how historical it was, or they found some wood from the ark and things like that. Some of these things have already been proven to be impossible. So this whole idea of atheism, and it's a very appealing idea to me, not because I don't think that there is some great design to this universe. There is. That's my experience. But there is absolutely consciousness, and that is one thing that atheists and a lot of people who only say that all the things that are going on in our brains are only chemical reactions, they cannot explain consciousness. In philosophy, they actually call it the consciousness problem because they can't explain consciousness. Well, where did consciousness come from? Okay, they say we evolved, which I'm not a subscriber to that. But they say we evolved, and science can explain a lot of biology. It cannot explain consciousness. So maybe quantum physics will explain consciousness for us. That's another conversation for another day. The bottom line of it is that I've been asking this question, and I really have no evidence for I'm with the atheists on quite a few things. Quite a few things I'm with the atheists. About the Bible is not to be understood literally. I like it as an allegory. It's astrological, it's magical, it's mystical. It's teaching you things. It's giving you hidden mysteries, hidden secrets. It has astrology in it, all of that, right? It's not this unerring word of God. I'm actually with the atheists on a lot of the things that they say. Because I find that a lot of things that the atheists say make very good sense. They're critical thinkers. I do not find people who are really deeply religious, I don't find them to be critical thinkers. It seems you're either one or the other. Either you're a really, really critical thinker or you're a really, really big believer. And I used to be a big believer, but inside my mind, I would say, that doesn't add up. And inside my soul was like, like, oh. Perhaps another term that could be used is agnostic. Arlene, absolutely. Because I was also listening to someone talk about that, the whole idea that God is unknown, and some agnostics say God is unknowable, which is that's very fascinating. I don't really reside in that camp too much because I feel like I feel like consciousness or the whole energy of the universe. That's why I kind of call it source. Like the whole energy of the universe is very known because it's knowing ourselves. Yes, and know thyself, and you know the whole universe. If we know self, and so everything that is within is here. Is right. There's a correspondence. So I feel like the whole agnostic thing. It's another fascinating way to look at things. I don't think I'm with that either. I'm not completely with the atheists, but I'm kind of halfway with the atheists. What do you mean by agnosticism, Arlene? And tell me what your thoughts are, because you're in the room too. Can you speak, Arlene, and talk to us about the idea of agnostic, which would be different from being Gnostic when we had the Gnostics who actually lived in the time many years ago, right? Okay, Arlene's going to talk to us now. So Arlene's coming to the stage now on Clubhouse. How you loving Arlene? Y'all listen to what she's about to say.
I'm glad in life with the power of elegance. How you doing?
Let me tell you something. I'm fabulous. You had Harmony scouring Astro Dream Advisor so she could come up with responses. I'm gonna tell her tonight to give you some of the responses that she had in our 9 p.m. room. Oh my goodness. She has like 3 super amazing responses. So you have inspired us, Arlene. You have inspired us for sure. Oh, I love it.
So, perhaps my definition of agnosticism really comes from my experience from a roommate that I had a number of years ago when I was in university. And one of the things that I always found interesting about her was that it was clear that she believed in something, but she did not really want to be in a place giving it a name. And the sense that I really got from her was that whatever idea that that people came up with in terms of, or whatever she grew up with, or whatever she was exposed to, like, I think that the majority of the people, like, from our generation really think of, like, the idea of the anthropomorphic deity
Yes.
that was supposed to be called God, looked like Charlton Heston with long hair, and
You're talking about the Moses from the movies?
I think that she may have
been exposed to that particular idea, because a lot of times I always find like people who define themselves as atheists or agnostic, when you really kind of scratch the surface of it, the question that you really need to ask them is whether or not, what was their idea, or what was the idea that was given to them about what God or who God or, what God is, as opposed to, really challenging them with their belief sets. But from my perspective, agnosticism really came down to, well, I believe in something, but I'm not sure what that is. And, and I'm not really comfortable with giving it a definition.
So sort of leaving it open and fluid.
Yes. It was, again, and the thing is that whenever I would, like I said, whenever I would talk to people who would call themselves that, or if they would, because I can understand, nobody really wants to hold to this idea of some dude in the sky that's, fire and brimstone and all of that stuff.
And he's a pretty ratchet dude too. I mean, he's killing people. It's a bad dude. Yeah.
The Old Testament dude, I have some thoughts about the Bible itself, in the sense that I really think that there have been, the schizophrenic nature of that character. I came to the conclusion that there may have been multiple deities that were talked about, and some that were really kind of more kind to humans.
Wait a minute, you call this schizophrenic?
Yes, just crazy. I mean, he was all across the board, and I think that I used to have for a long time, I used to have a problem with that dude that they told me, because my family really kind of wanted me to believe in this thing, and I'm just like, yeah, I know what's inwardly I'm being guided to, and this thing is not in alignment with the schizophrenic dude that's in the Bible. And then as I studied more, I was like, with the Council of Nicene and what have you, there's a possibility that there are multiple deities that are being referred to in the Bible, and that, and we're thinking that it's one dude when it's not necessarily the case. But anyway, that aside,
I like that, because that's once again bringing in those critical thinking skills. Because in addition to just being, having faith and being these mystics and pondering the universe and being magicians and sorcerers and, mediums and all of it, psychics, we also have a logical side to our brain that has to be satisfied, right?
Right. Absolutely. Because let's just put it this way: what I was given was not necessarily resonating with my inner spirit, even at 5 years old. And I just was not connecting with what was being shared.
You and I, absolutely the same experience. And when I would ask questions, they would indulge my first 2 to 3 kid questions, like, Noah, yes, he built a big ark, yes, and he put for it's all the animals in the world went on there, yes, all the animals that we see now, yes, they were all on the ark, yes. But how did that happen? And that doesn't seem like Valerie. See, they only tolerated my questions up to a point.
Much, at least you were more courageous enough to actually ask them. I already knew with my family. But yeah, I could go down a rabbit hole with them, but yeah, they wouldn't have would have frowned upon it. Growing up. Now I don't. And the thing that's really interesting is that they probably still would not be willing to have that discussion and go down that road. Or, the one person that wanted to talk about it wanted to scoff my ideas. I was like, I really can't have a conversation with you then.
Nope. That's right.
I'm going to let my spirit entertain this, this energy that you're putting out. I can honor and respect where you are, and I'm not looking to change your beliefs. I'm just saying I'm doing something different. And it's because I'm being inwardly guided to do this. And whenever I listen to that inner guidance, things that work out a whole lot better for me than doing the stuff that you guys would tell me to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you ever listen to Dr. Robert M. Price? He's mind-blowing. Do you ever listen? Does anybody ever listen to Dr. Price? His name is Dr. Robert M. Price. If y'all never heard of him, look him up. He's got gray hair, and he actually looks a little bit like who's that dude, that actor dude who is super intense. He has white hair, and he's really tall, and he was in Hunger Games. He was playing the quote unquote bad guy in Hunger Games. What's his name? Do you know who I'm talking about? Maybe someone in the chat also in the Love Tubers knows who I'm talking about. But anyway, Dr. Robert is
Donald Sutherland.
That's it. Thank you, Debbie. Donald Sutherland. That's exactly how he looks. He doesn't look exactly like him. He kind of reminds me of him because he has these intense eyes, and he also has this full head of silver white gray hair. And this man, Dr. Robert M. Price, he knows the Bible backward and forward, in between and up and down. I don't know if he used to be a pastor or whatever, and now he teaches people, and he has 2 PhDs, super smart. And he basically just clarifies a lot of the questions that people have about the Bible. He does it in a very calm way. And he hasn't thrown out the Bible. I haven't thrown out the Bible. I got tons of Bibles. I don't plan on throwing out my Bibles now. I don't know what might happen later on. I don't know. I haven't thrown out my Bibles. I love them. I love reading the Bible stories. Oh my goodness, I'm going to do a Forbidden Knowledge series, another episode in this series of Forbidden Knowledge on Adam and Eve and what happened to Adam and Eve when they left the garden. And who are Adam and Eve, and the cave of treasures, and the miraculous birth of Cain, and what happened when Abel was born. It is so fascinating. And these are all in the Pseudepigrapha. These are not in the 66 book canon that most people have that they're reading as a Bible. Well, Dr. Robert M. Price, he says something very, very fascinating. And this is it. It doesn't really matter what we believe, right? Does it? It doesn't really matter what we believe, because my belief's not going to change the whole world. It matters that we're seeking, we're asking questions. We're poking at it, right? We're turned within, and we're scratching, we're digging. We're looking, we're open, we're learning, we're evolving. See, you're in it. So it doesn't really matter, am I completely right? I don't think the object of the exercise is to be right or wrong. I really don't. It's, where are you in your evolutionary ascension? And are you asking these existential questions? And are you arriving at answers that feed your soul? That feed your soul. When I asked about the animals on the ark, I was told they were all babies. Fascinating. Now, let me ask y'all a question. This is a quick test. How many of each animal went on the ark? I know this sounds like a dumb question. How many of each animal went on the ark?
I think they said 2 by 2, but 7 for clean. Something to that effect.
Say that again, Debbie. 2 by 2, and then what?
I think they said 2 by 2, but for the clean animals, they considered like clean and unclean. There were 7, or something to that effect. There were more for the clean animals and the unclean animals. I think there was something to that effect.
Very good, very good. What were you going to say, Arlene?
Yeah, well, that definition of what they said about the 2 by 2, I had a problem with that, because if there were, I used to have, because that whole concept of Adam and Eve, conceiving everybody, then all of us would have, these, genetic deformities or anomalies. It just didn't make any sense to me. So even when the same thing would happen with the animals, when they're too closely related like that. So I don't know. My thought had always been is that if that was actually the case, then there were other places on the planet that weren't underwater. And let's just say if the ark actually happened and Noah put the animals on there were animals in other places that would allow for the genetics of the animals to continue life without them having to have incestuous relationships with each other, in terms of the animals, and not experience any type of physical maladies because of it.
Yeah, that's pretty fascinating too. Well, it's very fascinating that if you read in Genesis about the flood, about the ark, it says two different things. In one chapter, it says that God said, twos. By twos, you bring the animals onto the ark. And in the other chapter is where it said what Debbie was saying, that there were twos of the unclean and 7 couples of the clean, which would have been 14. So now we're expected to believe that 14 elephants, 14 lions, 14, like the 14 is even worse than the 2. And this is what we're expected to believe. Rather than looking at the metaphysical, allegorical, what could this mean, mystical, hidden meanings and principles behind it, we are really literally expected to believe that. And this is one of the really big issues that I have with where I came from, being in the cult of Jehovah's Witnesses, that fundamentalists took all of this very literally. It was all very literal for them. And there was no other way of looking at it other than the actual literal way of looking at it. And being unwilling, as we were talking about in our clubhouse room last night, we have a 9 p.m. clubhouse room Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. in the Wealthy Goddess room, where we're going through 40 money mantras and wealth consciousness before bed. And one of the things that we were talking about last night was cognitive dissonance. That when you believe something wholeheartedly, and then new information comes in, we experience a cognitive dissonance between what we believed and what we may be attached to. I was attached to a lot of things I was taught. And the new information coming in that says, it ain't so. So it's just beautiful practice to not be attached to what we believe. Yeah? Okay, before we wrap up, anyone else in the clubhouse room want to share the Christian Witches Club? And then I'm going to tell us how we can, how you can connect with us with anything else. Anybody else in the room want to share? Because we're doing Clubhouse and YouTube at the same time, which is fun, super fun. Thank you to Arlene. Thank you, Icy. Thank you, Debbie, for speaking on stage today in our clubhouse room. We have a room at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Thursday night. and that is for 40 money mantras. Tonight, I think we're on money mantra number 33, I think. I think it's number 33. Let me check and make sure. It is number 32, I think, actually. 32?
We're number 31, whichever the one is after legacy.
Oh, okay. Thank you for keeping up with. Thank you so much. So we're on 31. Also, we have the Miami Wealthy Goddess Retreat coming up in 2.5 weeks. Oh my goodness. I think we have a couple of rooms available. It's starting to sell out, which is really nice. There's going to be so many amazing goddesses at that retreat. I cannot wait to get there. And we're filming a pilot of a TV show. Can you believe it? While we're there, which is going to be so fun, so fun, so fun. So we're teaching in person. I love teaching in person. I love meeting our peeps. I love it. I love it. I love it. So it's beautiful being online, and it's even more beautiful seeing you in the room so we can hug your neck. Peru is incredible. Also, we're going to Dubai next year. So Dubai, I may be on the Wealthy Goddess Clubhouse later. I have a mastermind meeting tonight. Okay, Arlene, gotcha. Day 31, what if? Yay, what if? I love it. So we got Dubai coming up, and if you want to just ask any questions or book an appointment with me, you can do that right now at valerielove.com. Click on wealth. And you know that's very rare. I don't usually always offer one-on-one sessions, but I do have that going on right now because we have so many offerings and I want to make sure that each of our peeps is matched with the right offering for them. So we have Dubai coming up next year. I did a poll of love tubers and where y'all wanted to go, and guess what was number one? Maldives. So we're going to Maldives. We have all kinds of retreats coming up. Those at valerielove.com. Go to global events, and then the book is coming out, Decode Yourself. So you're going to find out all about that. So that's going to be fun. All right, family. Thank you for being in this conversation. I guess I'm going to end the conversation with this. Can you be a Christian and a witch and an atheist? And I think the answer is yes. Absolutely yes. So now that we had these deep conversations of the cosmos, we're going to call it a wrap. Love you. Thank you so much on Clubhouse. Thank you, Clubhouse peeps. Thank you. And love tubers, I shall see you all soon. I have a new vid that's going to be uploaded to the channel that is going to be about either you are a witch or a Christian, cannot be both. Okay, thank you so much, Change Otangalo, for offering that. Go to christianwitches.com and I would offer that you enlighten yourself to do a little more studying about that. Okay, all right, but that's the usual that we usually hear. That's what Christian witches usually hear. You can't be a Christian, you can't be a witch and Christian. A lot of people think that because that's what we've been taught, and we know that that's just not true. Well, thank you so much for being here. I love y'all. Have a beautiful night. Mwah. Casey out. Peace. ChristianWitches.com.